Israel comes in and says, in order to fish, you need a permit. In order to farm, you need a permit. In order to build houses, you need a permit. Now, technically, every country has this. If I want to go hunting in America, I need a permit. But what's going to happen when the Palestinians are not given permits and settlers who come from America, from Europe, are given permits right outside the border? The land is there, but the people that are living on it are not allowed to farm the land. The ocean is in front of you, but for technicalities, you're not allowed to fish in the ocean. Only the people in Tel Aviv, the Israelis, can come over. They can take and come and fish in front of you. You will not be given a permit to fish. You want to build a house, technicalities, you're not going to get a permit to build a house. You want to correct the sewage system, you're not allowed. By the way, for 30 years, the sewage system of Gaza has not been allowed to be corrected. The same pipes that were built 30 years ago, 40 years ago are still there. Can you imagine the problems that they have here? Why? Because Israel did not allow permits. What are people going to do? Well, whether we get permits or not, we need to build houses. And so they build houses in Gaza. They build buildings in Gaza without permits. What's going to happen? Your son was found throwing a pebble at the tank. Israel's going to come in and say, oh, your son did this? Guess what? You don't have a permit for your house. Why do you not have a permit for your house? Because you weren't given one. You kept on applying, you kept on going, and they kept on delaying. So they will tear your entire apartment, your entire house down, and the UN comes, America comes, oh, I'm sorry, this is not, he just didn't have a permit. You see, they're playing games here. He didn't have a permit. They didn't have a permit to, now, Gaza, the electricity, the water, the internet, everything is controlled by Israel. The land outside, controlled by Israel. The ocean, controlled by Israel. So throughout the 60s and 70s, the oppression continues to rise, and even the most trivial of issues, you want to visit your family outside of Gaza, you need to get a permit. In the 70s, they built a fence wall so that if you wanted to go outside, you needed to show a permit. The people of Gaza do not have passports. You don't have passports because you can't get Israeli citizenship because it's not Israeli land in the first place. Not that the Palestinians don't even want Israeli citizenship. So the people of Gaza are stateless. They're powerless. They have no lives. They have no potential for jobs. Their education is not even second, it's third class. So Israel continued to increase the laws against the people of Gaza until finally, again being very quick here, in 1987, the first intifada comes. What is the intifada? The intifada was a mass protest, began in Gaza and also the West Bank. Both Gaza and the West Bank are occupied, but the West Bank has a slightly better livelihood than Gaza for reasons that are self-evident, the location, the strategy, the people. The intifada begins in Gaza and the West Bank. Tens of thousands of Palestinians march in protest. And the Israelis respond with the one weapon they know best, sheer brutality. To imprison, to kill, to shoot people that are throwing pebbles. The Israeli tactic is very simple. They will respond to any violence with at least 10 times more violence. That is their response. It has been the case for the last 40 years. In the 70s and 80s, they began instituting brutal policies. If your family member was caught being involved in political agitation, throwing a rock or stone, the entire family would be penalized. This is the law in Israel. In the 90s, actually late 80s, 90s, the Israeli Supreme Court allowed, listen to this, the breaking of the bones of children who throw rocks at the Israeli security. It is legal, it was legal for Israeli IDF soldiers, for police, to literally find a child that is throwing a stone, that is, doing whatever it can do to fight oppression, and literally right then and there break his hand in two with a rock. I wish I could show you footage, but it is gruesome. But it is on YouTube. It is on YouTube. Israeli soldiers breaking the bones of children. This was sanctioned and considered legal. I want you to understand. Now you tell your interlocutor, what will it take to allow Palestinians to defend their rights? You want Israel to defend its rights? What will it take for the Palestinians to defend their rights? To live, to be free, to be treated with dignity. Obviously, when you're going to treat an entire population in this manner, what is going to happen? Their levels of anger are going to rise. It's human nature. And their attacks are also going to rise. In response to this, Israel decided to lock in Gaza effectively as an open-air prison. And so, in the early 2000s, they spent billions of dollars. Much of it is coming from our taxpayers. They spent billions of dollars building a 50-foot cement wall. You have to see it to believe it. It is as tall as this wall over here. I've seen it multiple times. You go there and you see this. Literally an entire massive cement wall with barbed wire at the top. Behind that wall is a slum. 2 million people. No jobs. Barely able to educate because they're not allowed. No careers. They're not allowed to learn, earn, live a dignified life. Their movement is controlled 100%. If you need to leave, you need permission. You will not be granted permission except with a long list of conditions. And even then, the whims of the guards, whatever they want to